Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the NJ Multi-Species Podcast. I am Joe Santiago and my partner Chris Pereira slash Matt Nelson, although Matt Nelson is no more. He's rest in peace, Matt Nelson, gone forever. Correct?
I finally was able to change the name. I still didn't
Finally,
put my full name on there.
that's been driving a lot of people crazy for a very long time.
Oh yeah.
Um, We're going to jump right into it. Tonight's guest, Fishmonger Captain Jerry Pastorino. We're trying to get him in here. As usual, the hardest part of the show
Yeah.
is to get the guests in.
He's buried under about 10 tons of sea bass carcasses because they've just been cleaning house. But we're gonna dig him out. We'll get him on here.
We'll hopefully we'll get him in here. He should be here soon. So a lot of tournaments. Round Valley Trout Association, second tournament of the year. I always get his last name wrong. Greg Wojcik. He caught a 6.12-pound lake trout. He won lake trout division. And Reddy Selassie, 2.2-pound rainbow trout. He won the rainbow trout division. And then Oliver Blos, 1.82-pound lake trout to win the junior division. And if you go on RVTA's website and just look at the picture of the kid with the holding this winning trout with the umbrella, it's just unbelievable. You could tell it's pouring rain. It looks like he's with his dad, and it's just an unbelievable picture. And Greg, that's a hell of a lake trout too. So.
They had a pretty good turnout considering the weather
Yeah.
was just awful. I mean, yeah, I fished Saturday too. The conditions were just garbage. I mean, it was fishable obviously, but it was just not. It just wasn't a nice day.
Well, go on RVTA's Facebook page and just check these pictures out because the picture I'll repost this picture with the kid with the umbrella because that's so cool. Then going right on to Knee Deep. Knee Deep had their panfish. This tournament was really cool, Chris. You would have liked it because it went on a point system.
Yeah.
And basically every panfish, depending on what place you came in that species, you'd get a certain amount of points. And then the end leader with the most points was like the ultimate winner. So it was like
a multi multi-species but panfish only.
Multi-species but panfish only. So I partnered up with Eddie Mackin. We went out together. We took my daughter and his son Ham. We probably had 70 fish in the boat. I weighed in a sunfish and a yellow perch, I think.
Nobody cares. What did your daughter catch?
Okay, my daughter caught a 1-pound crappie flat that won the junior division. And I got to tell you,
that's awesome.
Chris, when I brought this fish in, I mean, I have the picture I put on Facebook. Lori was outside, Joe was outside. They were shadow boxing, playing with the kids. They gave her a brand new fishing rod combo, and then she has now this picture of her standing in front of the legendary Dows with this rod and reel. It'll be with her the rest of her life. I mean, Knee Deep Club, I can't thank them enough. And Dows, the memory, and even Eddie Mackin too. The memory that we got Sunday, it was unbelievable, and it cost me $5 to enter her in that tournament. $5 to enter her in. $5. I'm just like, I'm almost like getting emotional. It was so unbelievable. These and it just brings me back to the prior episode of these clubs, man. It cost me $5 to enter my daughter in this contest, and it was unbelievable. I don't know what to say. I'm overwhelmed by it.
Well,
I really am.
it's
I'm
gonna
not
be
gonna
turned
cry.
into it's gonna be turned into a TikTok,
I
guaranteed.
cannot emphasize. Just like I bet this father on the Round Valley page holding up the umbrella over his kid knows exactly how I feel, because it just brings me back to these clubs and to get the kids in and get involved. I'm getting emotional. I'm not
And
gonna cry. I won't cry.
we're waiting. I hope you do. I really
I'm
do.
not gonna.
But
Not
all
gonna.
right. I
It
gotta say this. A lot of people I've heard, they don't want to bring their kid. Oh, I gotta wake up so early, bring my kid. Like, what time did you start this tournament? Like, what time did
we
you guys go over there?
we launched our boat at 10 a.m. We didn't want
10
to.
a.m.
Ham
No.
is 4, and M is 7. They're not gonna. We don't want
So,
to kill
like,
them.
well, my point is that excuse that I hear all the time, like, I can't bring my kids. They can all, they can't fish all day. They can't get up that early. You don't have to. You don't have to fish from the very start of the contest to the very end to win it. Like, you
But you do.
just,
The only thing I'd have to say that you have to watch with that is, like, RVTA has a registration time, so
oh, okay.
you don't have to be there at the dead launch. But I think, like, the registration time is
Well, you
8.
have to be pre-registered, I'm assuming, for both.
Yeah, yes.
But
We
I'm
we
saying
just
you,
show, we were gonna fish the RVTA one, and of course I'm not gonna be there with her at 5 a.m. I'm gonna be there at 7. I don't
well, so
need
you can pre-register though and just show up later, or I don't know
absolutely
what's the.
yes,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
And I also want to add that all these fish that won prizes at these contests are obviously nice fish, but these aren't like unattainable fish, right? Like, so again, the other reason that people don't do these tournaments, if what's holding you back is you don't think you have a chance to win, I mean, you could go out there and catch a fish that could have beat any of these fish, right? It's fishing. There's always this chance card, right? I mean, someone who's never fished before could go out there and stumble across a winning fish. It's just, you know, I just want to kind of wipe out any of those thoughts that anyone has who wants to do these contests and they have these thoughts in their head, like that we just talked about. Like, it's not a reason to not do it. If you want to do these contests, like, get out there and be a part of it. You know what I mean?
All my daughter, we were gonna. All I could say is my daughter has a picture of her in front of the legendary Dows holding a rod and reel that she won, and she'll have that picture the rest of her life. And it cost me $5, and we had a hell of a day of fun fishing, and it was awesome. I just can't. I don't know what else to say about it. That's it. It's
Deuce,
just
Deuce, can we zoom in on Joe's eye? I definitely see
there's
a
not
tear.
no tears. Very emotional though. I'm telling you. I was blown away by the way they treated them when they came in. It's just unbelievable.
That's awesome.
It
Very
was.
nice.
It was great. I'm trying to think what I did. Did I fish at all other than that tournament? I don't
No,
even.
you just
No.
watched your daughter outfish you. That was it.
That was it. And she really did too. Like, Eddie was up in the front of the boat doing his thing, and I was off the other side of the boat. The kids caught a nice walleye. We caught a bunch of yellow perch. This kid, like, just had a bob a night crawler on a jig head, and she just must have dropped it straight down. And we turned around, and she's
Hey,
fighting fish, and we're saying, "What the hell do you have?" And we get it up to the boat. It's like a slab crappie, and we're like, "Oh my god!" And we grabbed it, got it in the live well. We're like, "Holy!" Like, she just outfished She really outfished all of us. I mean, obviously,
are you gonna bring your daughter on as a guest, or are we gonna move on now?
I don't know. Let's move on. Yeah, Jerry still. I can't find Jerry. Jerry, where are you?
No, they're still digging him out of the sea bass pile.
Okay. Another thing that we could touch on. We don't have that much info on it yet because it's still new. But this 2-day tournament that's coming up. Trying to pull it up now. The 2-day tournament coming up in July. It's being It's involving the RVTA. It's involving what's the name of the bait shop? The Sporting Life. Sporting Life. I think Mike K and Yannette are running it. This is going to be like I think it's going to be the biggest tournament of the whole year. I think it's going to be the biggest tournament freshwater New Jersey seen in a long time, multi-species.
They're running. It's going to be a huge tournament, and like I said, I don't think they released all the details yet, but we just want to give everyone a heads up.
Well, they're coming on. These guys are coming on to talk about it, but
yeah,
it's going to be 2-day tournament on Spruce Run and Round Valley, and it's going to involve biggest brown trout, biggest lake trout, biggest hybrid. I thought biggest 2 other things. There's going to be all kinds of side prizes. It's going to be huge. That's another thing. So when those guys come on here, we'll talk more about that because they know what they're actually talking about. Looking through the Mayhem page continues to get bigger and bigger. There is just literally posts flying into that page all day. It's hard to even keep track of. I got yelled at by 2 guys today for using the @everyone tag, which I do use that tag sometimes because things just get lost in that feed. So if it's something, the one guy said I use 5 a day. You only allowed 1 a day, and I don't even use them all. But
I told them,
want to make sure that people see it.
Yeah, I told them I'm going to break my own rule and I'm going to censor. I'm going to censor you from using that button so much.
I'm allowed to use it on all episodes, though, right? Whenever a new episode comes out.
Use it for the episode. Because we did have, you know what, I'm sorry to the people that it annoys, but there are people who can't find the episodes and they actually want to watch it, like all 10 people want to watch the episode. We got to make sure that they can see it.
What is the update on this Lake Ontario trip giveaway, and when is this gonna be over? Because I'm end it. When's it over?
I mean, the hats are never gonna end. Let's just be very clear on that. That those are the people's hats now, and they love them, and that will probably never end. I know I'm gonna keep putting it on myself. But okay, so let me just clear up the contest. There still seems to be some confusion. I typed it out very clearly, I thought. I used the @everyone, so I was hoping everyone would see it and
no
read
one bothered
the
you?
description.
What? Hey,
well,
he used
that's when you're supposed to use it, when something's important, okay? So let me just clear it up one more time, and I'll make another post after, as well as on this podcast. But so if you came on the page, the NJ Multi-Species Mayhem Fishing Facebook group, and you got a hat put on your head, that does not enter you into the contest. Okay? You have to take that picture with the photoshopped hat on your head, and you have to post it into another New Jersey fishing page. You have to put it somewhere else. That's the hilariousness of it, okay? Your other options are you can make it your profile picture. We will give you an entry for making your profile picture the photoshopped hat pic, okay?
And when is this going to end, and how is the winner going to be chosen?
For the hats will never end, like I said, but for the contest entries, you have to have your entry in before the end of this month. So on the last day of May, that's the last day you can post your hat picture on one of the other New Jersey fishing pages or make your profile picture. Okay. And then when you do that, just screenshot it and put it on our page so that we can see it. That's just how we keep track of it. Or send it to us, whatever.
Don't say we. Yeah. I'm not involved in this. I'm
not involved.
No.
Oh, okay.
I've left the arena on this one. Okay. That's your operation. I'm still looking for Jerry. I'm just searching.
Get a shovel. Just Jerry. Get a shovel and start digging in the sea bass.
All right. So Yeah, multi-species mayhem. Like I said, sorry to annoy people, but that news, that feed, like in the analytics, it has like 2,000 interactions a day. Like I can't follow it all. I use the add everything when I think it. Plus, I was already just triggered and just firing off shit. So, but so
Well,
you did.
you want to touch on that or no?
No, I really don't. I don't even want to touch on that.
Okay, I
Uh,
will.
okay.
Anyway, so in the other confusion, I guess you could call it that, on the page is the whole thing that was happening where people were getting removed, blocked, and banned from the New Jersey fishing Facebook page. We know who was doing that. So this guy, what's his name? John Fagiello or something like that. Is that, I don't know what his name is. Is that it? I have no idea. So this guy was on our page and he was basically reporting everything that went against what Ken Beam wanted, I guess. I have no idea. I don't know the details of what conversations they had. He was basically reporting everything back to him, and by his will, by Ken's will, I guess he was just removing everyone from from the page, right? So a lot of people are pissed off, even though they really don't care about that page. There's really nothing good on that page. But just, I mean, just the fact that people are being removed for no reason, it just pisses people off. So anyway, we knew it was him that was doing this, but we stuck by our own rule of everyone's allowed in, everyone's welcome. We put up a poll explaining what happened, and do you want us to leave this guy on here, or do you want us to get rid of him? Pretty overwhelmingly, people wanted his ass gone. Before, I believe he reported that post as well, but before it got taken away, pretty overwhelmingly people wanted him gone, so we booted him. Now, when we did this, it triggered some kind of temper tantrum from him, and he started just doing ridiculous things all over Facebook. He made fake accounts of you, me, Dave Law, I believe. He made a fake page.
He made a fake page under Dave Aw's name.
He made an entire fake page under Dave Aw's name. Called it something similar to the multi-species mayhem page, and tried to get people to go on there. I don't believe anyone was dumb enough to think that was real. I think that page got reported pretty quickly by the first couple of people he invited.
Can we please just get? Can we go back to fishing? Oh,
yeah.
Just go back to fishing.
Like I said, the page is always going to be about fishing and ball busting, and it's just funny. Like, people like to have a good time. There's always going to be funny stuff in there. There's always going to be great fishing in there.
I'm starting to really realize, though, that there's a lot of people that are just jealous. Like, Justin Lerner came into Florida for 3 days. He went fishing with Chuck Manny for 2. He
came from Florida into New Jersey.
Why? What did I say?
You said he came into Florida, as if we're in Florida.
I wish. Well, maybe we are. I don't know. Whatever. He came in. He went fishing with Chuck for 2 days. He caught some unbelievable fish. Then he had a little bit of time to shoot out to PA and fish. He had an unbelievable day, and right away, that guy you're talking about comes right out. Oh, he's a midget, so all his fish look huge. Like, they're all small. Now he's putting that on all our stuff. Oh, these guys are all midgets. Their fish are all small. Like, every time I say the same line to this guy, I say, listen, you show me a fish, I'll show you a better one. Every time I say that to him, he blocks me instantaneously.
Well, exactly. Just to be clear,
he's got 2 fishing pictures. one is of a Wells catfish from England, and one is from is a flathead. I'm like, show me one game fish. Any game fish, I'll show you a better one. Any one blocks me right away. So he's just a waste of my time. I got no time for this.
Well, exactly. All right, calm down.
Justin
Listen.
Lerner's fish. Justin Lerner's fish. Okay. Justin Lerner, sometimes he does call them wild. Sometimes he calls them club fish. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. It doesn't really matter. He caught it anyway, and he caught it in public water. The only reason you have to attack Justin Lerner is out of jealousy. So, mayhem, people are posting pictures and, like they're getting liked. And the comments under them are mostly positive, except for Mandy Still, who's complaining about the way you're holding it. But that's expected. That's part of mayhem. We expect that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just want to. The point is, so whatever this guy's saying, if someone else can say something very similar in the context of busting someone's balls just to go back and forth and have a good laugh, that's one thing. This guy puts these things up and then disappears like a ghost. Like he's basically just a fruit fly that
that's what he does.
Swat away this fruit fly's back. Just swat him away, laugh at him.
There's pictures of him all over the internet dressed as a woman. So I don't, he's dressed up as a woman and he's got a handlebar he looks like a Super Mario brother, like a cartoon. And this guy is one of the moderators of that page. I mean, and the main guy is responsible for everything his goon does. So whatever. Can we please talk about fishing?
As far as I know, he's just,
Jerry?
He's probably just doing what Ken is telling him to do. I have no idea. And like I said, if they want to clear anything up, they are more than welcome. I
highly doubt that because I don't think Ken Beam would ever condone that kind of behavior. He's not that kind of person. And if he knew the things that this guy was doing that he's being held responsible for, he wouldn't be happy about it. I don't believe me.
I'd love to believe that, but I guess time will tell. But as far as this guy is concerned,
Chris, trust me,
like I said,
he's not that this guy put up a picture of children. Ken Beam would never do something like that. This guy goes over the line.
But yet he's still a moderator on that page. So you're telling me he doesn't know what's happening?
I don't know. I really don't.
You're telling me, Joe, you're telling me that this guy removed hundreds of New Jersey's best anglers from his page, for most of them for no reason and the rest of them just for putting a photoshopped hat on their own head? You're telling me he removed all those people from that page and Ken doesn't know about it?
No, the hat, that's a separate issue. I think what's going on now that went to the next level, Ken wouldn't condone. It's not it isn't in his behavior profile to act like that.
All right, well, I want to believe that, but I mean, as of right now, this guy is still a moderator on that page, so I have to believe because of that if not condone it, he at least knows about it and is looking the other way.
But this guy being a moderator of that page is just helping destroy that page, so that's great. Let him be a moderator there forever.
I mean, look, it's not like they have a bunch of moderators. He has 2 moderators.
Yeah, and one of them is from 3 hours to the south.
Whatever. That's the other thing we try to do on our page. We got a bunch of moderators. We want everyone to have input as much as possible. I mean,
yes,
can't make everyone the moderator, but let's
get back to it. I don't want.
We will get back. I mean, I'm just saying, like, as far as this guy is concerned, I don't care. He's a fruit fly. You just swat him away. You see him say something, just swat him away like a fly. And I mean,
well, the kryptonite. I got the kryptonite. Just send the one line. You show me one, I'll show you a better one. He'll block you right away because he ain't going to show you a fishing
picture. If you say anything to the guy, he disappears. But as far as he's concerned, like, if it's found out that because he's clearly obsessed with this page and this podcast, and like he watched every video and commented on
did.
all of them, and then he went back and deleted most of his comments. It's creepy. I mean,
He's
look,
obsessed
if
with our
they,
height too. He's obsessed with our size. That he says we're all very small and very tiny.
I don't know why he thinks I would care, but if if they find out that he's got still shots of the podcast push pinned all over the wall in his mom's basement, and he sits down there like
All
touching
right, no
himself
more.
over
No,
him, then
that's it.
I'll be concerned.
You went to Merrll Creek with your friends. Your yearly annual trip. Tell us about Merrll Creek. How was it, and how was it fishing with those new hours?
I mean, we didn't try to get there when it first opened. There was actually, not to my knowledge, there was 2 contests, bass fishing contests going on there, which obviously, you wish you had the place to ourselves, because it was raining. I mean, it was really crappy weather. I thought for sure there would only be 1 or 2 other guys there. There was probably 40 trailers in the lot. It was crazy, kayaks and boats. But we weren't going there to bass fish. Me and my buddies, we do an annual trip every year. We usually try to travel. We couldn't make it happen this year, so the 2 of them jumped on my boat, the Essential, and we just went out there and did what I do. Unfortunately, the conditions were terrible, but I couldn't find a lot of jigging targets in the usual spots. I did find a couple much shallower towards the end of the day.
You said it was cloudy, right? Overhead clouds, they're going to move around all day. They don't sit still.
Yeah, they're moving around. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean,
but it's
I trolled around.
Good day to drift live bait.
Yeah, I didn't have any live bait. Maybe it was. I mean, a lot of the tournament guys coming off the lake didn't look too happy. But I mean, who knows? I'm sure there's so many guys out there. I'm sure some guys did pretty good. We had at a couple points in time, there was even salmon near the surface all around us. It just could not get them to bite anything we threw.
Really?
Just could not get it to. I mean, and when it's over, you always think back like, oh God, I should have thrown this too. But like, you can only throw so many things in a time period. And who knows? Maybe something would have worked, but nothing we tried worked. And then they're there 1 second and they're gone the next. But we trolled up 2 stock rainbows, moving around looking for other fish, and we were able to jig a couple of nice lake trout towards the end of the day. And we left pretty happy. It is what it is. Could have been worse.
I saw the pictures. One thing I forgot to talk about is during that Lake Apacon panfish tournament, I accidentally I caught a tag brown. A tag brown.
Oh yeah,
trout.
That's right.
First trout I've ever caught out of Lake Apacon, and it was tagged.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I never have targeted trout in Apacon. I caught this one on accident fishing for panfish. And apparently when I got into Dow's, I had to scan. They had like a barcode, and I had to scan the barcode with my cell phone and then fill out all my information and show them a picture of the tag. And now I'm like entered in a raffle to win $100. I didn't even know about this really. I let the fish go. I just took a picture of it and I let it go with the tag in it. But they just want to see a picture of the tag. They're looking for.
Yeah.
They want to see a fish with a tag in its mouth that says 2022, so they know it was from last year. But the one I thought was from 2023, so it was a beautiful fish, nice brown.
Right. So I know a little bit about this program. We tried to get. I think Eddie Mackin could probably tell you a lot more about it. But basically, there's some kind of grant money or some kind of for a program or something or whatnot, where basically if they could prove that Lake Opakon could hold over brown trout, there was this grant money available for, I don't know, stocking research, whatever. I don't have the details, but so they tag the trout, like you were saying, with the year that they stock them, and they want to see if the trout holds over to the next season, if it survives over the summer. So basically, I think they started this 2 years ago. I don't think any brown trout were checked in that from the year prior. But basically, just so everyone knows, if you do catch a brown trout on Lake Opakon, especially if it has that current year's tag number on it, so like yours, for instance, we don't want you to kill that fish because they want to see if it can survive to the next year. That's the study. So you did the right thing. You took a picture of it and you released it alive because they want to see if that fish can survive the summer to the next year.
So it's supposed to be it's supposed to be released?
Yeah, because if you caught one with this year's tag on it,
I get it.
So if you killed that fish, then obviously it wouldn't make it to the next year to be caught, and that's the proof that they want that brown trout can hold over through the summer in that lake.
Well, they did this last year. Has anyone turned in a tag that made it a year?
Like I was saying, I don't think so, but I mean, don't quote me on that, but I don't believe so.
See, I feel like there's also a high probability of them just being picked off by muskies in there, no problem.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, that's for sure, but I think they put a pretty good amount in there, so if they could hold look, like I think they know.
Well, this guy, that tournament, the rumor when we last week's episode, that last knee deep club, the 5-pound walleye in second place spit a 16-inch trout onto the whatever. So obviously these predators in the lake are feeding on trout.
Well,
especially
if they're eating 16.
If they're eating 16-inch trout, the 9-inchers have no shot.
Well, sure, they have a shot. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know. It's also the biggest lake in the state, so it's very. It seems like a needle in a haystack, but maybe you never know. I don't know.
That's why they're doing the study. I mean, I think they're pretty certain that the rainbows don't hold over through the summer. That's why they're only doing this study with the browns. Supposedly a more hardy fish, more adaptable to an open water lake type environment.
I'm curious though, that state record state record rainbow trout that came out of that lake in the 80s. Was that fish, you think, just thrown in at that humongous size, or did it actually grow in there?
I mean, I guess who knows? Probably back then there wasn't as much phosphates and shit getting into the lake. There's probably more oxygen in the water. Who knows? I mean, I would.
Because that record, I'm pretty sure, is from the 80s, and it still holds till today. I mean, that was a very, very big fish.
Yeah, my guess is it was stocked pretty big, and then, obviously it was eating very well in there. It got a little bigger, but my guess is it was stocked, but who knows?
All right, so we're really running out of material here without Jerry because he was like the center point of everything. So, Jerry.
Well, I mean, I was gonna wait on Jerry's sea bass fishing reports because they're obviously much more in depth and better than mine. But I did get out sea bass fishing for the first time this season on Sunday. So I mean, the ocean was not pleasant. Let's just put it as that. I mean, the forecast was borderline, but it seemed all right. But when we got out there was a pretty nasty swell. It was I mean, we tried to anchor it. It dipped the bow of the boat a couple times on anchor. It was pretty nasty. But that being said, the bite was pretty good. It started off a little bit slow, but I mean, I was using a jig. I always like to use the jig first. I always try the jig first. If I could get away with it and it's working, that's what I use.
And we
And
should tell him that jig. Should I tell him the jig to get? I could tell him the jig.
No, I don't.
Should we tell him? We could
No, let's
tell him.
keep that a secret. No, I keep that a secret.
All right, on an upcoming episode, once I talk to the tackle shop, I'll tell you exactly where to get it and exactly what color it is, and you'll never have to buy another sea bass jig ever again in your whole life.
Yeah, that's if they pay you enough money, right?
I'll take a T-shirt or like one of those rags that clip to your thing.
You're
Anything.
like a cheap hooker.
Fillet knife. I'm
like
a
very, very cheap hooker.
Deuce, I believe Deuce has sold out to, like, he's sleeping right now, so he doesn't care, but he's sold out too. Like, he's done. He wants money now. Like, we're sellouts now. So
I'm not paying him.
Well, we're sellouts. We want money. Or like
Anyway.
us like Adam Mihara. Everyone is like Adam Mihara. Can we talk about him for a minute?
You're gonna cut my sea bass fishing report right in half just to talk about Adam?
Yes. All right. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you just hold it in the holster for a couple minutes?
I'll hold it.
Anyway, so like I said, I try to use the jig every time, right? Obviously there's situations where you just can't work it right or whatever, but I find that a lot of times you're going out there for sea bass, and you're not necessarily always going to get them on the jig with the jigging motion, right? Sometimes you go out there, you know.
Wait a minute. Can I ask a question?
What?
What is like the primary? You just said sometimes you can't jig. Why'd the whole podcast just get so white? You said you can't jig.
You're having a stroke.
I might be. What is the primary, like, you're saying there's a bait method? Because I've every time I've ever sea bass fished, I've always jigged. You're saying
You've never used bait for sea bass?
No. Like, I've gone fluking and caught sea bass on accident, but every time I've ever gone sea bass fishing, I'm always jigging with a jig.
Well, I mean, if there's some kind of current combination where you drop the jig down and it blows out within, a sec, even if you throw it up current, and by the time it gets underneath you, it's freaking gone. Like, if the current's that bad, like, what are you going to do? You're going to go up to a 6-ounce sea bass jig? I mean, I guess
no,
you could.
But I probably wouldn't be out there sea bass fishing if I saw those conditions. But I'm asking, what is the primary?
The conditions aren't always what they predict.
So what is the primary, like, bait rig for a sea bass setup? It's
just a basic bottom rig. You put a sinker on the bottom, you tie a couple of dropper loops or whatever knot you like, and you put 2 or 3 bait hooks on it. Some guys like to catch 3 sea bass at a time, so they put, they just use a bait rig with three hooks on it.
What's the bait?
You can use squid, clam. I mean, they'll probably eat anything. Old pieces of gulp cut up. I mean, it depends on the day.
I've never fished for sea bass with bait ever.
Well, I mean, you don't even tip your jig with bait?
Sometimes I do, yeah. With a killie.
All right, so if you go out there and you don't even tip your jig with bait, you're going to have days where they just don't hit that jig, where they don't want that jigging motion, if for whatever reason it's too aggressive for them, or whatever. There's a 1,000 different variables. But what I was getting to is you can use, so let's say you got that jig rig, right? You got a jig on the bottom. Some guys, that's it. They just put the jig on there, tip it with a piece of clam or squid or whatever, and that's it. They're jigging for sea bass. So I put a dropper loop above the jig, and I pop a nice size hook on there. Nice sea bass hook. So if the current's not too bad, like if I pack that hook with bait, now it's going to start affecting my jig a little bit. It's gonna pull on, the current's going to pull on that a little bit. The jig's not going to work quite as well or the same way as if I had nothing on there and just had a bare jig, right? But that's what I was talking about, the conditions. If the conditions aren't right, I'll just pop that hook off, or I just won't put any bait on it. And there's a dropper loop there. It doesn't do anything. I'll just use the jig, right? If the conditions are right, if there's not too much current or whatever, or the drift isn't too bad, I'll put a little bait on both. Now I have a more versatile rig, right? So if I take that jig rig and I did this Sunday, right? I dropped it down. I tried jigging it. I wasn't getting anything. So I dropped the jig down to the bottom. Now I got the bait hook on top of it, and I'm just leaving it there, and I'm moving it just enough. I'm not moving the jig off the bottom. It's just kind of sliding on the bottom. And now it's almost like a drop shot rig. If you bass fish, if you know that basically the weight's on the bottom, the weight's not really moving much. It's just kind of tickling the bottom there. And now the bait's just sitting there. Now it's a much less aggressive presentation.
Yeah.
It's almost basically a bait rig at this point. But I don't have to change the rig. I don't have to grab another rod, right? So then I caught a couple of fish like that. Then, after 10, 20 minutes, I tried jigging again. Now the fish got more aggressive. I started catching them on the jigging motion on the jig. Caught a couple like that for a bit. Then they slowed down again. And I just kept adjusting to the conditions. You've heard the saying, you let the fish tell you what to do. You just have to be willing to keep trying different little things, just change things a little bit. And you just kind of go with what's happening.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been long enough already. So we are sorry we couldn't find Jerry. If we find Jerry somehow, we'll get him in here and try to splice him in somehow. Or if not, we'll have him on a future episode. Next week, we got a 4-day weekend coming this weekend, so it's going to be a lot of fishing going on. So next week, we finally have Fast Eddie. Edward Payne is coming on next week. Memorial Day. What better day to bring on Fast Eddie? We're
gonna record. We're gonna record on Tuesday next week.
And then the week after Fast Eddie, I believe Gianetta, correct?
Correct.
And then after him,
Justin Gianetta.
And then after Justin Gianetta is Eddie Mackin, who has new.
Nope.
It's not.
No, you just asked me this, and I told you, and you still.
Oh, it's the flathead kid.
We got Chase Grossman, who we tried to have on another time, and it got messed up.
And then it's Eddie Mackin on the 19th, who has enormous news to share with everyone, but he's still gearing up to share that news. So
yeah, well, we wouldn't normally have double up on someone who's gotten a chance to be on already. I'm sure we got other people that want to be on. We're trying to give everyone an opportunity, but he does, like you said, he's got real big news and he wants to share it on here. And obviously he's got so much information and material on fishing Lake Apacong that he could probably do his own podcast and just talk to himself for years on end.
We have much more Eddie Mackin stories to tell. So those are our next 4 episodes. Like Chris said, if you want to get on, send him a message. Jerry,
I will say, Joe, we probably shouldn't be announcing future guests like this after what happened right now.
That's true. Should I put do you want to put the Mayhem bounty out on Jerry? Should we tell all the Mayhem members to tag, "Where's Jerry"?
I mean, I honestly hope he's okay because I haven't heard from him in a while.
All right, guys.
I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure, something just came up or whatever.
When you see this episode, go on there and tag, where's Jerry? Where is Jerry? We can't find
look,
Jerry.
If Jerry doesn't show up by between us recording this episode and us putting it on YouTube and Spotify, then I'm actually really going to be concerned, and I'm not going to joke that he's buried under a pile of sea bass carcasses anymore, because that'd be a couple of days at that point.
Okay. Well, like I said, we're gonna find Jerry. I have a 4-day weekend. Chris probably has a 3-day weekend. There's going to be a lot of fishing going on. A 5-day weekend. So he has 5. I have 4. Going to be a lot of night fishing going on. Hopefully we'll be able to go live. Maybe we'll go live from somewhere. We'll be live in the Mayhem page. Please, once again, hit the subscribe button. I have to beat Adam Merrll. He worked so hard to get all his subscribers, and I really.
Wait, how many does he have?
He has 800, and we didn't work that hard, and we already have 200. So we're like, we could gain on him. If everyone in Mayhem subscribed, we would tie him. But just no one does it. No one. But I got to be honest, I watch YouTube shit all the time, and I barely subscribe to anyone. So I'm probably not even a subscriber to our thing. So
yeah, I was going to say, I don't think you are.
We'll be back, and we will be live, and we'll be posting stuff in Mayhem. Please hit the subscribe button.
I'm going to book 2 guests for next episode so that we have a fallback.
Okay, yes. The next episode is Edward Payne, and if he does not show up, it will be Andrew Still behind him to back him up. We will see everyone next week, and any comments, post them on Mayhem. Good night.
Take care, guys.